I'm better than you, and you know it.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on the Wheels. Welcome back to a new episode of the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. How everybody doing out there? Thank you guys for joining me here. Hope everybody's having a good day out there. I know it's hot outside. It's very hot outside. But hey man, this past week has been hot. But this week here on Talk Pro Wrestling, I have a guest all the way from Chandler, Arizona. His name is Anthony Giesick. Man, he's the host of Beautiful Feet Podcast. Anthony, what's going on with you, man?
Hey man, how you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thank you for joining me here. How's it going out there? Is it hot in Chandler?
We're in triple digits. We're like, I think the highest it got was like 112. So it might have even been hotter than that, but it's toasty. It is not okay.
Oh man. But thank you for joining me here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. We're gonna talk about wrestling here, of course. We're gonna talk about AEW, NXT, RAW, SmackDown, everything. We're gonna dive all into it. But before we do that, man, you have a book. You have a book called Sanctuary of My Solitude. Can you tell me about that? It's available on Amazon.com. And if you want to know more, also my listeners out there, you can go to BeautifulFeetEntertainment.com. But Anthony, can you tell me about your book before we dive into some wrestling?
So basically, this is a book that I put together. Basically, to start it off, I love hip hop. So I started writing rap songs when I was about 10 years old. But because I never recorded any of the songs, I had stockpiles of lyrics just spewed about everywhere. And I finally came around and I was like, I'm going to put this into a book so I at least have the book. I have something. And it was just one of those things that I was like, I really want to just see what happens, see how it goes. And that's why I kind of went the self-publishing route. I kind of went that way simply because I was like, it was for me. It was just something that I want to do for me, and I love putting the lyrics together and just having fun with it. So, I mean, it came out, I want to say 2-3 years ago, somewhere in that realm, and I'm happy with it. You know, it was never supposed to be a blockbuster type thing. It was simply just something I put out there. You know, just something to have, something to be able to share with people. So that was, and it talks about my struggles growing up, my struggles through depression, through different stages of my life, but it also shares my faith in God and my faith in Jesus and how that works. And so, it allows for, it specifically allows for people who might be a Christian who don't know how to deal with, depression and things like that it's okay to have those emotions. It's okay to deal with stuff, and it's okay to talk about it. Like, because I feel like sometimes we're told, don't talk about it, just act like everything's cool, and that's not always the case. So I write about everything from the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. But I always bring it back to my hope in Jesus and how I find healing in that. So that's really what the book is about. And
Man, that's really cool, man. We all go through some things and depression and stuff. So man, that's really cool. You guys, you can check out his book, man, at Amazon.com, or you can go to iUniverse.com to check out his book, Sanctuary of Solitude. Man, that's good, man. But hey man, we here Talk Pro Wrestling, man. I was listening to your podcast before I had you on. You're a big fan of the heels, man. So tell me about that, man.
Okay, so the reason I'm a fan of the heel, of the bad guy, is because it makes the good guys that much better, right? Like, so a good heel could make you cheer for the bad guy. And honestly, some of my favorites, it's not necessarily a heel good guy type thing. It's just, I love when one person kind of elevates the other person. So, that's why I love the heel. That's why I love the bad guy, because if you have a really good bad guy, like Shayna Baszler is probably one of the best going on. in recent history, just because you could see she does not care about anybody else but herself.
Yeah.
And when she gets beat by whoever, it's such a build-up that you're like, I want that good guy to win. So that's why I love the heel. I love that's their job, is for you to hate them and love the good guy. But if they do their job right, you can't stand them, but you realize that that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they're doing it so good. What about, is Sasha doing her heel job really good right now with Bayley?
Right now, I'm enjoying this whole thing with Sasha and Bayley. They've tried this before, right? Where they were best friends, and you're like, it was working, but it wasn't working, in my opinion. But right now, I love how weird and strange it is, and the fact that Bayley's got 2 belts, Sasha's got the tag team title, and we'll see what happens with the Raw title, because we'll talk about with Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see it. I love when their segments are on, just because I'm like, together they're just, right now they're doing great. And Sasha, in my opinion, is her best when she's a bad guy.
Exactly.
Like, I don't mind when she's a good guy, but when she's the bad guy, I hate her so bad.
Yeah, you hate her so.
She's great.
Yeah,
So,
you hate her so much, but she's doing her job. But I'm loving what Sasha's doing. The only thing about it, man, that she's with Bayley though. I don't like Bayley theme song that much, but I really like Sasha's because Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, she got her theme song, and I wish they kind of let her come out to it, a little bit more and let it play out though. But
I don't mind Bayley's theme song. I hate but I mean it's not a great theme song, but I hate when you're just kicking into Sasha.
Yeah.
And like right when Snoop starts to rap,
exactly.
they're like, put Bayley on.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, do the other way around.
Exactly.
Have Bayley come out first and Sasha finish that off.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. But man, hey, they are doing their thing right now. We're gonna dive all into it. SmackDown. This past Friday night on SmackDown, we seen Cesaro take on Big E in what was a crazy matchup. Match was to determine the stipulation at Extreme Rules. Cesaro won over Big E, and it will be a tables match for the tag team titles at Extreme Rules. You didn't catch SmackDown, did you?
I've seen highlights, but I haven't been able to indulge in the whole thing. But
okay, what have been standing out to you in the past weeks of SmackDown?
Oh man, SmackDown. Let's see. Now this is standing out to me, but not necessarily for a good thing. Is the Jeff Hardy Sheamus stuff? I don't know how I feel about it. There's times where I love it. There's times where I'm like, I don't know. So there's that kind of what's going on. I'm trying to think of what else is going on at SmackDown that's really catching me right now. Unfortunately, right now, SmackDown is one of those that I'm like, if I catch it, I'll catch it. Everything else, I'm like, I need to see what happens. So I'm probably missing a lot of stuff on SmackDown.
Yeah, that whole stuff with Jeff Hardy and Sheamus is really weird to me. The start of it was interesting when they came on to SmackDown, and they had Elias supposed to have been in a car accident and finding Jeff Hardy behind a house and everything. And the whole thing about that was so interesting, that would have played a huge factor in the storyline, in my opinion, would have been Jason Jordan. When, I didn't know Jason Jordan, I guess, was, is a backstage executive, or, he's just working with them right now. But when he appeared in that segment helping Jeff Hardy with the referees also, I thought it was weird that Jason Jordan just came out of the blue. So, I mean, if they put that in there, I thought, that'd have been cool. But ever since then, that, I mean, it's just been a weird situation, especially when he had to have him take a piss test in the middle of the ring, though, just to throw it back in his face or something. It's so weird. I really don't understand that.
And see, this is what was really strange about that segment. That was a lot of piss.
Exactly.
It was what? It was like, it was a bunch. I'm like, yo, who pees that much?
Exactly.
I was like, that took me completely away from it, because I was like, okay, I can understand where this is going, but when he pulled out, what was it, like a beer mug or something, I was like, yo, there's no way you stood there for less than a minute and you peed that much. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. Tomorrow night on SmackDown, they're going to be in a bar fight. In my opinion, what's your thoughts on that before, I tell you?
Tomorrow, okay, so I don't know. I mean, the whole idea of things like bar fights, we've seen it before. I like my action either in the ring or just kind of strewed around. I don't like it set in a bar. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, it's just a little pop-up bar most likely backstage, right? It's not. So I don't know. I feel like I would much rather have them just one big fight in the ring, end it once and for all, and move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I just feel as though ever since the whole Undertaker AJ Styles match at WrestleMania and also the Firefly Funhouse, and they got so much good reviews, they just like, okay, we got a thing here. We can do this, more often, and use up time without having, so much, time utilized there at the Performance Center. And it's just like, I think they doing it too much. They hit the nail with the Firefly Funhouse match and the Boneyard match. Don't do it so much, and I think that was really, the thing about that.
Well, in my eyes, if it fits with the story, I'm fine with it, right? So like Undertaker, AJ Styles, it fit with what they were talking about, the story they were telling. Firefly Funhouse, it fits perfect with the Fiend and who Bray Wyatt is, but I'm like, you don't need to throw around all these, pre-production matches or whatever, which I love the fact that they want to do stuff like that, especially with everything going on right now. Go ahead and take those risks, but do it with the right story. Like, you don't need to just, let's just put these guys in this environment because we could film it like a movie. Cool. But make it make sense. And in this case, I'm not sure that it makes sense. I'd much rather them be in the ring. Maybe do something like a no holds barred just in the ring and have Sheamus bring in like the beer mugs and things like that. That would be in a bar and start cracking Jeff with that. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't see any reason why it needs to be in a bar. But that doesn't mean it can't be good. I always have my hopes up for whatever they choose to do, because the way I look at it is this company's been around for as long as it has for a reason. So I'm going to put my trust in, hopefully they know what they're doing, and just I either like it or I don't like it, and we're good with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. But another thing that's been going on SmackDown, we seen Matt Riddle make his debut about 3 weeks ago. He beat AJ Styles on his first night. I was saying on the podcast about a couple of weeks ago, if that match was for the IC Championship, Matt Riddle will be the champion. But last week, we seen the championship matchup between Matt Riddle and AJ Styles, which was a phenomenal matchup, to say the least, that AJ Styles walk away with the belt.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Matt Riddle?
Okay, so Matt Riddle, like, I love his in-ring ability. I really do. It was weird when they were like, why don't you wear shoes? And he tells this big, long story. I'm like, dude, he don't need a reason as to why he doesn't wear shoes.
Yeah. He had a whole long...
He just needed to look at the, I think it was Michael Cole speaking to him. I don't remember. Yeah. But he should have just looked at him and been like, I just don't like him. Like, whatever.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think the simple fact that he was on Fox, he's on a big network, he's not on NXT no more. The whole, fans, not the normal fans, but the casual fans of what I'm about to say is, who tuned in, and they gonna be like, oh my God, he doesn't have shoes on. Why doesn't have shoes on? So he had to explain it. We all know. We all know why he don't have shoes on though.
Yeah, he don't never wear shoes. I've never seen the dude wear shoes. I've always seen him wear sandals or flip flops or whatever. let him wear his flip flops. Who cares? Like, it's his risk. Let him get his feet stepped on. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as like his personality or his character, like, there's sometimes where I really like it, and I'm like, okay, he's super laid back, and sometimes again it just kind of gets on my nerves because I'm like, he's too laid back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he don't care about nothing. How does he compete if he really doesn't care?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that one. So, but I gotta. Since you said that, I gotta ask you then. What's your thoughts on Orange Cassidy then? You know, because if you think Matt Riddle was laid back, then what is Orange Cassidy?
Okay, Orange Cassidy is just funny to me. Like, I don't know what it is about him, but and again, it's one of those where, first of all, like when I first started watching AEW, I didn't watch the first season only because of time. I was like, I don't really have time, to watch it. I didn't feel like I needed to make time at that point. Now I started watching it probably around when season 2 started or whatever, and which is weird that they break it up into seasons because Raw doesn't do that. But that's okay, it's a different company. But Orange Cassidy, like, I don't know. I feel like we've seen times where we've seen him get pushed over the edge to where he's like, okay, now I'm gonna break you down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so, with like the whole thing with Jericho going on right now, which I'm sorry, I love it. I think it's the funniest thing. Having orange juice just spew all over, Jericho,
Yeah.
and then giving him an orange Cassidy towel to towel off with. I was like, this is great. Like, so I enjoy it. Just, I don't know. I don't know if something about Matt Riddle, I'm just, like I said, most of the time I'm cool with it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going. So, but I was like that with NXT, right? When he was in NXT, I was the same way, where I'm like, he's good in the ring. It's something about his character, just I don't know how to take it yet. So it's probably the way I'm looking at it, probably, most likely.
Yeah, he's a laid back, smoke, hide up character, really, in my opinion. He just reminds me of RVD though, but man, I was really loving the stuff going with him and Pete Dunne before they had to drop the titles because Pete Dunne is stuck over in the UK. So I mean,
in my thing, that was his like the best because exactly that, right? Pete Dunne is a no nonsense. I'm gonna break you down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna destroy you, whatever. And then you got Riddle, who's laid back, who's gonna make jokes, who's gonna make puns, and just have fun in the ring. And I thought they had a great team, dude. I thought they had it together. And it sucks with everything going on because Pete Dunne can't be here right now. And I think that I'm wondering how that would do outside of NXT and in Raw SmackDown. You know what I mean? How that teamwork would work.
Yeah, I think it would work just well. I mean, because they can pick that right back up because that was really smooth. That was right before Mania, and that was going into, I think, that NXT TakeOver, I believe, Portland, where they won the tag team titles. I'm not sure. I think it was something like that. But that whole storyline, with them in the golf cart and them getting in Triple H jet and everything, man, it was entertaining. But it was.
It was very entertaining, and I want to see, because we've all seen NXT like talent move over to either Raw or SmackDown, and they just flop. They don't work for whatever reason. And I think that team would work no matter where they go, because they were so entertaining that I was like, I've got to see what's going on. And I hope when, the world opens back up and Pete Dunne can get over here, they just put those two back together, because they need to be together. They don't even need titles, but it's great when they have them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Okay, man, we're gonna move on here. This past Sunday, we seen Extreme Rules, man, the horror show. I don't even know why they had to add that on there, but Extreme Rules. We seen the kickoff show. KO defeated Murphy on the pre-show, and we started out with Nakamura, Cesaro taking on the New Day in a tables match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Nakamura, Cesaro walking away with the Tag Team Championships. Which was a cool match in my opinion, though. I really loved the whole huge power bomb off the top rope through the tables. I really wasn't seeing that. I didn't see that coming, though.
No.
What was your thoughts on that matchup? And And what's your thoughts on Cesaro becoming a tag team champs with multiple partners now with Nakamura?
Okay, first of all, that match was phenomenal. Like I thought it was so fun. I sat back just going, okay, and I actually got to watch the pay-per-view live. The only reason I say that is because most of these, because of my work schedule, I work overnight. I don't normally get to watch. I usually have to watch the next day or whatever. I actually got to watch this, as it was happening, so that was cool. But the match was fun. It was really cool just to sit back and like see such a brutal and such a fun match to watch. That table spot was, I didn't see it coming, and I thought it was fun. I was like, this reminds me of like, the old TLC matches, like with the Hardys and the Dudleys and all that. It reminded me of that, where it was just this really crazy spot. Yeah. Cesaro, I felt bad for Cesaro, dude, because when he came in to WWE many years ago, he was a solo talent. He was killing the game. Doing so much. I don't know what happened, but he just has not been able to be solo. He has to have a partner, and he makes a good tag team partner. And he's always been in good teams, but I'm like, I want to see him on a solo run. Like, I want to see him just coming in like he did, where he was feared. You know what I mean? He was somebody that people were scared to face, and like,
you're right about that, man. Because they really haven't utilized Cesaro like he needs to be. And if you remember, even from the bump, every show it goes on WWE Backstage, everybody in the locker room says who's their favorite in-ring, superstar in the company is Cesaro. And I think, Vince has a problem with Cesaro. I think he has a problem with Dolph Ziggler also. It's like Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro. It's like them two guys, they got to stick them in a tag team. Or, when it's the right time, they just, okay, yeah, you get your moment here, but you're not going to win the main title or whatever. Like, it's just so crazy, though. But, yeah, Cesaro, I don't know about that. But congratulations on him winning the tag team championships. But I would really love him to have that huge major single push with everything going on right now in the country or in the world. Like you said, at this moment, at this time, especially in WWE, you're seeing guys break out and at a time like this, really, really, really change, because a lot of main guys are not really here, such as Roman Reigns and, like Randy Orton. Like, he's a vet, but he's killing it right now. It's 2020, and he's killing it, though. Like, it's crazy. Apollo Crews, is getting a push, from being, the United States Championship. It's just every little...
I need to give a big, awesome, congrats to Apollo, because he came in NXT. Again, he was awesome. He was one of my favorites in NXT. And then he got moved over, and I haven't seen him in months. Or when you do see him, it's a quick back, quick shot in the back or whatever, or a small match where he doesn't do nothing. And now he's getting a push finally, and I'm so for it. I want him to keep that title. I know he still has it at this point, I believe, but I don't want him to lose it. I want him to make that title his and carry it for a little while, because he's earned it, man. That dude puts in work. Based on what I can see, he knows his stuff, and he needs to push. Yeah. And the audience has always seemed to like him, from what I could see. Yeah. So I don't know why they're looking at him going, "Oh, never mind." When I'm like, the audience is behind him. Give him. I don't expect him to be Universal Champion or anything like that, but give him a title. Give him a good run. Let him have a career worthy of, WWE. Let him have a good career. So, yeah.
I agree with you. I really agree with you. Keep the title on Apollo. I think maybe he's out right now, probably with the whole testing that's going on down there at the Performance Center. So he's been held off at Extreme Rules. He was supposed to have a match with MVP in the for the U.S. title. He's supposed to defend the U.S. title against MVP after losing to MVP on that Raw prior to going into Extreme Rules. But the new United States Championship, what's your thoughts on that?
I like it. I mean, it took me a second, but I looked at it and I go, you know what? It's smooth. I like it. I think it looks cool, and I love the fact that MVP had the gall to just jump in and be like, I'm just gonna make a new title and crown myself, you know what I mean, U.S. title champion. And I was just like, because now you have 2 titles going up against each other, and it's just fun. I'm like, okay. It just made it that much more fun. It made MVP that bad guy that you're like, man, that's devious. How do you just go ahead and make your own title just because you want a title?
Exactly.
And I'm not a big fan of Bobby Lashley. I never have been, but I like him and I like MVP and Bobby Lashley together.
Yeah, I really do. Like that was clicking more than him and Lana. So I was really enjoying that. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, keep
him
MVP.
and Lana were garbage. I'm sorry. That was stupid. I was so over that storyline after like the first week. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, we're going to move on because I don't even want to talk about that. But all right, we're going to talk about Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio. Had a eye for eye match. Don't really know what that is, but I guess Seth Rollins had this thing where he just wants to sacrifice people and take their eye out on the steel steps. You don't know, but it was an interesting wrestling match before it came to the end, and whole Seth Rollins, puking. Like, what was your thoughts on that?
Okay, so the match itself, awesome. Like, the match was put together. You could tell both of them were going after each other's eye. You can tell they were going in. They were, I was mad at the end for one reason. It happened so fast, I missed it. I literally was watching the match. I went to take a drink, looked back over, and it was over. I was like, oh, what happened? And then when I finally went back and watched it again, I was like, nothing really happened.
It really did. Nothing really happened.
I was like, I didn't see an eye, which, I didn't expect it to be rolling around the ring. You know what I'm saying?
I know, right?
I didn't see any blood. I was like, come on, guys. Like, I get it. You're a PG product. But if you're going to do an eye for an eye match, we're kind of expecting a little bit of color here. Like, at least I was.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand Seth, like, getting sick afterward. Because I was like, dude, you're supposed to be the Messiah. You're supposed to be, like, I don't know. I just didn't see that. And even this week on Raw, he was like, I never meant for that to happen. I'm like, you've been doing this for you started this a couple weeks ago by doing it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. I'm digging the whole Seth Rollins Monday Night Messiah thing.
I love
he just changed from the whole burn it down to now he's a god now, and it's just, okay, I'm loving it. Keep doing what he's doing.
And it's funny because, again, as a Christian, I'm watching it going, okay, I know you're doing like a parody of Jesus.
Yeah.
But I can't be mad. I love it. I think it's the funniest thing. And he's not mocking my faith, so it doesn't bother me. But it's simply one of those things where I'm like, okay, I like it. I think Monday Night Messiah is a great name. I'm like, go with it. His music, I like the fact that his music changed. Again, it's not the best music out there, but
it's better. I like it better than Bailey's, though.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I like it better than Bailey, but it needed to change. I couldn't imagine the Monday Night Messiah coming out to burn it down.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't imagine that either. You wouldn't believe into what he's saying, but him just talking about burn it down and just like that don't even go together.
But when that music comes back,
oh man,
if there's an audience in the room, they're gonna pop. They're gonna blow up big time.
Wow. Yeah, you're right about that. All right. Asuka, Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title. What happened?
Okay, so
what happened?
Oh my gosh,
what happened, please? Like, what happened?
So, Asuka went in for the green mist, missed Sasha and hit the ref. The ref goes blind. Bailey decides, I'm gonna go ahead and steal his clothing, steal his shirt, throw it on, and count the pin. And I was like, I wasn't mad. I honestly thought, okay, I don't think they're going to let her get away with it. But I like the fact that, once again, it's a way to cheat, but it wasn't the usual, I'm going to pass you something, you're going to hit her and get the pin. Mm-hmm. It was different. It was fun. I thought it was great.
It
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you like you were saying, yeah, it was great. But in my opinion, I enjoyed it too, because if this was maybe, let's say, 3 to 4 years ago, if this was about 3 to 4 years ago, and that would have happened, out came whoever was the general manager at the time, they would have reversed the decision, changed it back around. But the whole fact that it happened and that was just it was that created some, interest, some buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell just happened here? Did she really just take the shirt off the ref, count 1, 2, 3, and she still had the title though after that? So that was weird.
And here's what I like. Okay, it seemed so off the wall that Sasha's music didn't even play for like a solid 45 seconds after she won.
Exactly.
Because I think they wanted it to be like, even back in the back, they're going, what the heck just happened? And like you said, a couple years ago when we had general manager, they would have just come out and said, nope, we're not doing it this way, start the match over, or something to that effect. Or what I'm glad they didn't do, I'm so glad they did not show up on Monday Night Raw the next night and have it be like, oh, during last night and tonight, Sasha was stripped of the title. She still had the title. She was still acting like a champ. And then Steph McMahon was like, you know what? We don't agree with this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a match next week for the title. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's great. It's elevating the story. It's pushing it forward. It was done in a way that was different. You know what I mean? It wasn't the regular pass someone a weapon and get the 1, 2, 3. It was definitely one of those of like, I don't think I've ever seen someone steal the shirt from a ref and assume that makes them a referee.
Yeah, you're right about that. Also, well, her tag team partner, of course, Bayley, she defeated Nikki Cross. We also seen Drew McIntyre go 1-on-1 with Dolph Ziggler. Of course, he just, it should have been me. You think it should have been Dolph?
Oh my gosh. So I actually enjoyed the stipulation, even though it was utterly ridiculous, and I don't think anyone would ever let that fly in an actual competition.
Exactly.
But,
like, this is a Extreme Rules match just for me, though? Like, come on, though.
It's Extreme Rules for me. If you use a weapon, it's against, I'm okay. Like, I don't know. I like Dolph being able to, like, chase the title or whatever. But the fact that McIntyre won fair and square, I like it. I'm good with that. You know what I'm saying? Now I guess they're doing another match.
Oh man, I don't even know why they really doing another match though. I mean, they going into SummerSlam. It should actually be another huge opponent, for my man Drew McIntyre. But hey, one more match I guess for Dolph Ziggler.
See, I don't want one more match after Extreme Rules. I look at it like McIntyre put it out there.
Yeah,
he destroyed Ziggler. Ziggler don't need another chance. He's already had the chance. He had every weapon in his arsenal, and he literally couldn't get the job done.
Exactly.
So
he hit him with so many chairs, put him through tables or whatever. Hit him with so many zigzags, and my man Drew McIntyre just hopped up Claymore 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. I'm out of here.
You can't. I mean. And I like Ziggler as a talent. I'm okay with his story. Like, I'm okay with him being the whiny little, it should have been me. I'm okay with that. Totally fine. Just because I don't see him being a main eventer, I don't really see him being anything more than what he is, which is fine. I'm not saying anything against him. He's good where he's at, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Also, in our main event to close it out, the swamp fight between Universal Champ Braun Strowman, and Bray Wyatt. And I don't even know what to think of this. I don't even know, was it even a match? I just like the fact that I just seen 3 versions of Bray Wyatt. That's probably it. It just reminds me of Mick Foley, how he was Captain Jack Doolove and Captain Jack Doolove and Mick Foley.
Mankind.
It was just Mankind, yeah. So that was really cool, and other than that, I don't even know what to say on this. Like, Like
So
I was
I
saying.
love the fact that Bray Wyatt has this kind of character with the Fiend and everything going on with the Firefly Funhouse that he can bring back cult leader, Bray Wyatt. He can bring back these storylines. It's not dead in the water. I thought that segment, I'm going to call it a segment because it wasn't a match. It was shot well. I liked the way it looked. There were some things in there that I didn't understand because it didn't tie into Strowman at all. Like the dude who got set on fire, that was weird. The Alexa Bliss thing was my favorite thing.
Yes, everybody that was trending. Is she Sister Abigail or what? Like,
I didn't think of it as Sister Abigail. I thought of it as just part of Bray's past. Not Bray, sorry. Part of Strowman's past that Bray is just bringing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, and even the way they edited together with, the mixed tag matches that they had.
Yeah.
I was like, yo. Because that storyline really just dropped. It was like they were building it up and then they just killed it. And I like the way they were able just to kind of bring it back. And then, hey, come home with me, Braun. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, this is great.
Yeah, you're right about that.
The end was cool, though, with them fighting in the water. They go underwater, and then the Fiend pops up. I was like, okay, I'm guessing the Fiend won, but there was no definitive rules, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Neither do I, but yeah.
So, and with Bray, I love the fact that they're doing these movie-style segments because I look at it and I go, hey, like, it fits with his character.
Yeah, him. It definitely does.
This one just didn't make sense all the way through. It was like they half-cooked it and then just threw other stuff in there just to fill time. So I don't know if that's what happened, but that's what it seemed like to me. But yeah, I mean, but I'm waiting to see kind of what happens with that.
All right. Me too. But man, I'm here with my man Anthony, man. We here to talk it up here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. He's the host of Beautiful Feet podcast, man. We're going to take a quick short break. We're going to come back, man. We're going to talk about Raw, AEW, NXT, man. We'll be right back here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling.
When it comes to growing your podcast, it's tough to know where to start. That's why Anchor gives podcasters the tools they need to make each episode better than the last. Now, Anchor Analytics includes new stats from Spotify to help you better understand who's listening and what they like about your show. With charts that let you see how far people are making it into each episode and where they're dropping off, you can plan your podcast around the content that performs best. Hover over to see how many people are tuning into specific segments and learn what hooks your audience by comparing the average listening time across multiple episodes. Using anonymized demographic data from Spotify, take a granular look at the age and gender of your listeners to start tailoring your content or targeting new audiences. Track analytics from multiple platforms and Spotify insights. Everything you need to grow your podcast all in one place with Anchor.
Yo, you guys, welcome back here to the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. I have my man Anthony Giesick, man, the host of Beautiful Feet podcast. We here chatting it up here, talking about pro wrestling. Yo, man, Anthony, man, I was listening to your podcast, man. Of course, before I have you on here, man, and you were, I think, talking to your wife. You had your wife on, and tell me about how you guys were planning your wedding around WrestleMania, so you guys won't have that, clash with one another, man.
Okay, so she knows I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been a wrestling fan majority of my life. I took a break in college simply because I didn't have cable to watch wrestling. That was it. But anyway, so we were planning the wedding, and we knew we wanted to do it in March, simply because we're like, here in Arizona, it's starting to warm up, but it's not, in the double digits or triple digits or whatever. It's still kind of cool. And I was like, I jokingly was like, well, WrestleMania is always like the first Sunday of April. or whatever, or usually around that time.
Yeah.
So I said, jokingly, was like, yeah, we got to kind of be careful because I'm going to want to watch that. and she was like, all right, cool, we'll plan it out. And we, basically what ended up happening was we looked at the calendar and we picked the date that we picked. One, because it was like, I think it's 2 weeks before, traditionally when Mania happens. But also it was the day that I proposed, but a year later. So the day I proposed and, the day we got married is the same day. We just have a year in between. But it was definitely part of the conversation of like, yeah, because I'm going to want to be at a WrestleMania party, I'm not going to want to get married like at that time because it's not going to work.
That's cool, man. That's a cool story. Did you wind up enjoying WrestleMania? What was your thoughts on this year's WrestleMania? How it was split up, into 2 nights, 2 big for 1 night.
I actually didn't mind it. I actually dug it because let's be honest, a 5-hour Mania, it's hard to stomach it all. Like it's hard to figure out what's going on. But the way they did it this year was cool because they ended night 1, if I remember, with the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, you're right.
Or was it?
No. They ended with The Undertaker and No. Which one
I thought
was
it was flipped. I thought it was Firefly Funhouse, and then the next night it was Taker and AJ Styles. But
yeah,
either
like
way,
that,
they ended both of them with the cinematic match.
Yeah,
and but all in all, the matches were good. I actually enjoyed the 2-night event. I don't know if they would do that when it's live, when we can actually be there in attendance.
Yeah, they were thinking about trying to do that. Trying to make that a regular.
Yeah,
I would enjoy it. They would kind of.
I mean,
yeah, that would be kind of cool, though.
Now I don't know how that would work for ticket sales. Like, would they have to sell?
Yeah, I think you would have to buy
Saturday ends.
Yeah, you would have to buy tickets for the both shows if you want to go, and like if you're just gonna go to one, you're just gonna go to one. But most likely,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Pay for Mania, pay for
Raw,
and pay for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So
man.
That's
crazy. That's
pockets right there.
Yeah. Speaking of WrestleMania, man, and you're from Arizona, man, did you go to WrestleMania 26?
I didn't. I did not. I have a friend who did, and here's why I didn't go. One, that was that was before I got back into wrestling, so I didn't know it was here. And 2, if I remember correctly, I was still broke as could be at that time, so I wouldn't have been able to. I would have had to find money on the street somewhere just to be able to go. But I've been to a couple. I've never been to a pay-per-view. Well, no, actually, I have. I've been to I want to say Extreme Rules or something like that. Anyway, I have been to one pay-per-view live, but I've been to a lot of different Raw and SmackDown events since then.
Okay.
Because I try to go whenever they're in town. Obviously, financial-wise, it depends on a big deal of it, but
Yeah, of course. Ticket sales are, up. We're up at that point.
Yeah.
But I feel you. Man. But I never went to a WrestleMania. I can't wait till they come here in DC though. That'll be really, really cool though. They always came, close by. What was it? New York or Miami or Philly or whatever. But that'll be really, really cool. But we're gonna move on, man. We're gonna talk about Monday Night Raw that took place this past Monday, of course. Seth Rollins, opened up the show like you were saying, man. He didn't want to do that to Rey Mysterio, but he did. And he had a matchup with Aleister Black, and which was a cool match to start out the show. Seth Rollins doing his thing. He defeated Aleister Black. What was your thoughts on that match?
I actually really enjoyed that match. That was a lot of fun to watch. I'm a big fan of Aleister Black. I love just his character, the darkness of it. I like darker characters. Again, Undertaker being one of my favorites. So, again, and it's funny. So, with me, the character relies on not only is it a good character, but does it match with what seems to be this person's real life personality, right? Again, I don't know any of these people personally, but you can tell when they're putting on a facade.
Yeah.
So, Aleister Black is one of those dudes that I'm I feel like when he's at home by himself, not in character, he still is the same dark, like doesn't talk very much, like you know what I mean.
That's the kind of vibe I get too.
And I've actually listened to interviews with him out of character, and yeah, this is just who I am type of person, and I'm like, cool, like that's why I like him so much. But his move set, like the Black Mass, such a cool move that he hits it anywhere.
Exactly, man. I want more for Aleister Black. I really do want more for him though. But
I definitely do.
Yeah,
he was killing it in NXT. He's doing really well up in Raw and SmackDown or in Raw. But I want to see more. I feel like they could do a lot with him, and they're just not doing anything. So,
yeah, want to see more from him. But more that we did see in a return this past week. We saw a 6-man tag team matchup where we saw the Hurt Business, where MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, who won the 24/7 championship prior to beating R-Truth, which he's probably going to win it back a 38th, 37th time or whatever like that. But the Hurt Business, they went to take on Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and the returning of Mustafa Ali. It was really cool to see Mustafa Ali coming back. He was on SmackDown, but now he's on Monday Night Raw. What's your thoughts on Mustafa Ali?
I like Mustafa. I think he's very talented. He has a lot to give. And again, I've heard like interviews. I listen to a lot of interviews with WWE superstars or whatever, and dude is just up. He straight up seems like a great dude. So I'm like, you know what? I'm all for him coming back. I don't know where he's been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was on the injured list or where he was, but I've always liked him. I've always thought he was cool. So, and I'm a fan of Ricochet as well. I wish they would do more with him. So I would definitely for that team. I think that's a good team to have.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool to see. I'm a big fan of Mustafa Ali. Big fan of Ricochet. I love Cedric, man. I just, of course, wish they really do something with them more also. We seen Ruby Riott, of course, defeat Peyton Royce, and we also seen the Street Profits defeat Angel Garza and Andrade, which was a cool matchup right there. It seemed like Andrade and Angel Garza can't stay on the same page with Selena trying to get them on the same page together.
Yeah, Zelina's got her work cut out for that one because they just keep butting heads. They just keep going at it. But you know what? Like, Andrade is he's solid in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very solid. I'm not quite there with Angel yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to figure him out whether I like him or not. But I think they're a good team when they work well together.
I think
just they butt heads. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I think a lot of guys probably trying to figure Angel Garza out. He has the thing where he pulls off his pants, when in the middle of his wrestling match. So but the ladies love him though. The ladies love him.
The ladies can have him. I don't need
to. We also seen Kairi Sane defeat Bayley, and which was a cool matchup right there for Kairi Sane getting the victory over Bayley.
So, yeah, Kairi Sane, dude, I'm one of those dudes that I first saw her, I think it was in the Mae Young Classic, and I was like, yo, this girl, she's awesome. Like, and her insane elbow, literally, like, that is crazy. It's insane. Because she makes it look really good. And I'm good with, with her getting it over on Bayley just because it's going to keep that storyline building of who's the better team. If you have one side always beat, so like if you had Bayley and Sasha constantly beating, Kairi and Asuka, you're obviously going to get to the pay-per-view going, I don't care. I've seen this too many times.
Exactly.
But if they go back and forth, you're going to have, wait a minute, they both are good. Let's see who has it.
Exactly.
So I think they're telling this story really well. This is probably one of the best stories that's going on right now.
Yeah, the women are really killing it. But our main event on Raw, we seen the Viper Randy Orton. He's calling himself the Legend Killer once again, and took out the Big Show. He defeated the Big Show in which a match I really didn't want to see. I thought Big Show was just out of here, but he came back, in this dying time right now with a lot of guys not on the roster. Big Show's filling in, but Randy Orton, of course, still doing his thing after having that major feud with Edge, and also kicking Christian head off the next night. But I want to know who's next for Randy. That's basically my opinion after this. I mean, Big Show was here for.
So my thing is, I'm glad to see Edge, right? Yeah, he actually got hurt, but it was great to see him. It's great to see that he's healthy. The dude looks great. I mean, he's built right now. And his matches with Orton were fantastic, in my opinion. I didn't need Christian to step in, but whatever, he did. Yeah. And I agree with you. I didn't need to see Big Show. Like, I don't dislike the Big Show. I just don't think he was used in WWE to any of his potential. He's a big guy, but he's always been used for these, like, more jokingly used matches, right? Like, they've never been taken super serious. I'm like, but he's such a big dude. You could have done some great things with him, but instead they had him doing, matches with, boxers and matches with, like, oh, this Samoan wrestler or whatever. Like, it just never made sense. So I didn't, honestly, when it got to that match on Raw, I was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to let this ride out. I'm not that invested in this match. Yeah. So who would be next for Orton? What other legends would be out there? I think Triple H would be fun. If The Rock ever came back, that would be fun. Oh, him being a legend.
Yeah, The Rock is one of my favorites. The only time I think The Rock and Randy Orton had a little, confrontation really was WrestleMania 20. The whole evolution and The Rock and Sock, connection of them being in the ring, wrestling. Yeah. So that would be dope. That would be really, really, really dope. I don't really know who else would be next. I mean, Ric Flair. The way he was looking at Ric Flair seems like Ric Flair is gonna be the next one he punts in RKO's. So
yeah, but I don't know. Just actually looking at Ric Flair's actual age, I'm like, dude, I don't want him to accidentally get hurt because he doesn't have the reflexes he used to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to see him actually die in the ring because, he couldn't take the hit as he used to back, when he was a wrestler, Exactly. So I don't want to see that. I actually like seeing Rick backing up Orton. You know what I'm saying? Something about a legend supporting a legend killer. I don't know what it is. It's a fun little connection there. So I don't want to see that yet. Yeah. Or if it does happen, I definitely don't want to see him get punted. That's not what I want to see.
I don't want to see it just yet, but I kind of like see it coming though. The way he was kind of like looking at Flair though, but I definitely want to see Ric Flair supporting Randy Orton. Being Randy Orton's manager though. That would be really, really cool though. But speaking of managers, man, one place that has a lot of managers, we're gonna move over to AEW. AEW, man, this past week we saw Cody, who's his manager, is Arn Anderson. But Cody defended the TNT Championship against a guy, man, that really surprised me. I don't know if you watch NWA Power that comes on.
I have not.
Okay, yeah, but Eddie Kingston, man, he really stood out. Really badass character. I really enjoyed him. He made his debut on AEW last night, and he took on Cody for the TNT Championship. It was a cool matchup. Cody, of course, retained the title. Did you catch anything of AEW or not?
This week I have not.
Okay, cool.
I'm really enjoying. I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying the TNT matchups. I'm enjoying this title run. I wish they would finish what the title's supposed to look like. But
and that's a crazy thing that you mentioned that, man. Here on the podcast, I think about 2 weeks I brought this up, man. Like it's so crazy that Cody mentioned that on TV that the title isn't finished, and they made the title out of a mockery of the 24/7 title. Like, are you really serious though? Like, come on though. Like, just don't even worry about what they doing. the 24/7 title is a joke. Just do your thing, man. Like,
Well, and the thing with the 24/7 title, it's supposed to be a joke.
yeah,
It's not like they made it and they wanted it to be taken serious, and it's not. It's supposed to be just, we're just having fun. This is to make you laugh, wake up something. TNT title, like, I don't even mind the concept of the title. To me, it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, Cody got a title. Cody is one of my favorites in AEW right now. Just because I was a fan of his in WWE, even though his character was ridiculous, his wrestling was fantastic. So, and I'm impressed with what he does, in the ring. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I like the fact that he's like, yo, I will put up this title every week. I'm wondering who they're going to have take it from him. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's going to be interesting.
He's had a few matches where I'm like, yo, it got close.
Yeah.
And he won by literally, the sweat off his brow, basically. So I'm very curious as to who is going to take it and how. So that's what I'm looking forward to with that story.
I was hearing just maybe it could be Zack Ryder, but he's going by his real name, Matt. I don't really know his last name or pronounce it, but Matt, aka Zack Ryder. That's what a lot of people was saying. That would be cool right there, and which it would be. But hey. Yeah,
especially since Zack Ryder was never taken seriously in WWE. He had won when he won the Intercontinental
title
at WrestleMania. I don't remember what Mania was, but
it was WrestleMania 32.
I was so happy. I'm not even a big fan of Zack Ryder, but I was so involved with that match. And then they took it from him like the next week. I'm like, yo, really?
Yeah. I think it was the next night they took it from him. Miz beat him for it or something or whatever it was. Like, it didn't make sense at all.
I was like, at least give him a run with it. It doesn't have to be a long run, but one night, less than 24 hours, like, come on.
It's crazy. But
but what I was gonna say real quick, one thing I don't want to see AEW do, I don't want them to start taking a bunch of talent from WWE, because then it's just gonna be WWE's leftovers. Unless they're gonna do right by these guys, but I still want them to have their own talent, their own people that I don't know. You know what I mean? Because you could take like Zack Ryder, give him his real name, and put him on AEW, and I'm still going to look at him for probably 6 months as Zack Ryder. You know what I mean? Because that's who I know him as.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Good point.
I'm glad we had some people crossing over, but I definitely do not want, remember this guy from WWE? Remember this guy? Because then I'm going to be like, okay, I'm tired. I'm not going to end up watching anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
good point. I like it. I really do. MJF, of course, had his matchup. He defeated Garrett. MJF was one of the baddest characters right now, or baddest dudes on the mic.
So you want to talk about heels?
Yeah, man.
He is a fantastic heel.
Yeah.
He steps on in the ring. Or he's on camera. He don't even need to speak. I can't stand him. It's perfect. I'm like, okay, I already don't like you. I don't even know your name. I just know it's MJF. That's all I know. I don't want to deal with it. Go away.
I'm better than you, and you know it.
Yes,
like it don't
I love
get
it. I'm better than you, and you know it. I'm like, oh man, I don't like the dude who's with him, Wardlow or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't mind him, but I don't like the name. I'm like, dude, he sounds like a wizard. You need to change your name.
Okay. Well, speaking of people who's, I guess, a manager or got partnered with him, Taz, man, is in AEW, and he's rocking with Brian Cage. And this past week on AEW, actually, last night, he seems to have a new client in Ricky Starks. Do you know anything about Ricky Starks?
I don't.
All right.
I might have heard the name, but I don't know.
Yeah, I believe it's Bailey's boyfriend or whatever, but Ricky Starks was in NWA, as well as Eddie Kingston before the whole pandemic. They got shut down, but Ricky Starks coming over here to AEW now, so it's in, Taz is building up a army. But it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, though. But yeah, the Young Bucks also, they had a wild Falls Count Anywhere matchup with the Butcher and the Blade, which they defeated them. Of course, what's your thoughts on the Young Bucks? I know you said you don't like a lot of tag teams coming over to from WWE.
So I'm a fan of the Bucks, like, because I heard so much about them. Like, because I listen to, wrestling podcasts and stuff, and all I would hear about is the Young Bucks, and I'm like, I gotta look into them, and I love the fact that they seem to just have this entrepreneurial like spirit of like, yo, we're gonna make it in wrestling no matter what we do. So that's cool. In the ring, I'm like, okay, they seem just like a tag team to me. At that point, I had nothing that was going to pull me toward watching them. But now as I'm watching them more, I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to see why people like them. And, so that, and I enjoy tag team, but I'm always more of a fan of singles competition. I always have been, so.
Cool. I'm too. I'm a big fan of single competition. And another single competition we seen on AEW this past week. Adam Hangman Page had a match with of course, a member of Dark Order though. What's your thoughts on Dark Order and
Brody Lee?
Yeah, Brody Lee. Okay. trying to get Colt Cabana. Trying to get him in his squad.
First of all, the Dark Order, like before Brody Lee, it was so mysterious and so different that I'm like, yo, I'm enjoying this. And then Brody Lee came in, and I think they're using him pretty well. There's been a few like backstage segments that I wasn't sure where they were going with it, because I almost want Brody Lee to be treated like a messiah, like an actual Jesus type figure. But they started to do that, but then they kind of pull back. I don't know if they're trying to play it safe.
I think they're trying to play it safe. They pulled back with that. And this past week was kind of funny. I know you didn't see it, but I know you're probably going to go watch it.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
Brody Lee offered Hangman Adam Page to be a member in it. And Hangman Adam Page, the response he get was just hilarious. He just said, no, I don't want to be in your court. And just Brody Lee was just like, oh, okay, all right, okay, cool. You gonna get your ass whipped. You gonna get it. You're gonna get it.
and that's another thing with Hangman is he's another one of those guys that I'm like, I like him in the ring. I'm starting to like his character more and more. It's taken me a little while to warm up to it.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to like it more and more. I don't understand the tag team with Omega, but I'm still trying to figure out Omega. Like, again, a lot of these dudes who people have known forever, because I don't watch as much, underground wrestling or whatever, or independent wrestling, I don't know so well. So I'm like, I'm still trying to figure you guys out, but...
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out Kenny Omega. I thought it was interesting that they had Hangman Adam Page at the forefront, taking on Jericho for the AEW Championship when it first came out last year. So I thought it was interesting. I don't know a lot of these guys. I heard about the Young Bucks a lot. I seen them on Ring of Honor, stuff like that. Or maybe when I turned in, maybe New Japan Pro Wrestling or something. A lot of they guys, and girls that I never really heard of, so that's what make it so better than WWE. But you said it right, yeah. When you got former talent coming over from WWE, they leftovers, if you want to say, coming over to AEW, a lot of people don't like. But I think WWE doesn't use certain people the way they should be, and like. Here you go with FTR now coming over, formerly known as the Revival in WWE. They here in AEW now, and before I ask you that, what's your thoughts on them? I think the whole
Yeah.
character, is something different. They're going to be utilized different. They're going to be a badass tag team different. They're not going to be taken as a joke. So I do get it that a lot of guys don't want to see leftovers from WWE, but they're not going to use them, correctly. That may be a wrestling promotion like AEW would.
Yeah. So my thing is this, FTR, before they left WWE, even before they went to Raw, SmackDown, NXT, I loved them in NXT because they were that no nonsense, just whatever. And now they're back to that, being the no nonsense team, being taken seriously. That was a good move for AEW, in my opinion. I just don't want. I guess what I'm saying is I don't mind if WWE or if AEW takes some of WWE stars who are not being used or who want to get out of contract or whatever. I just don't want to turn on AEW and have every single person I see be somebody from WWE. I want to see somebody I've never heard of before, someone who's brand new, someone who came from independent promotion and now is, making real money in AEW. That's what I want to see also. I don't mind if they're like, yo, you're done with your contract. We can use you. Because they're being used great, right? They're definitely that team who's like, okay, I will sit and watch and go, okay, I'm enjoying this. And that's, I watch wrestling is my whole metric for it is, am I enjoying this? And then I look at it and go, am I enjoying it overall? Of course, I'm not going to watch every match and go, oh, I loved it. There's going to be some things that happen that I'm like, what was that? You know what I mean? But overall, did I like it? And honestly, I have to say, overall, AEW, I'm really enjoying because I'm like, it's something different, but it's not so outlandish that I'm like, I'm overdone. I'm actually just enjoying the fact that it's straight up wrestling from beginning to end, and that's it. So, yeah, 100%. I'm enjoying AEW. And I'm not going to say it's better than WWE, but it's different. And it's what you know what I mean? So
yeah, very different, though. Very, very different, though. What's your thoughts on the Inner Circle, though?
Oh, my gosh. I actually really enjoy the Inner Circle because, first of all, Jericho keeps finding ways to reinvent. I'm surprised there has not been a group or a clique or whatever you want to call it already called the Inner Circle because it's such a commonly used phrase. Mm-hmm. But I like it. I like the fact that they're all different. They don't dress the same. They don't act the same. They're not the same person. Because my biggest thing with with factions is typically what happens. You have one leader and everyone else just looks the same, acts the same, and is from the same background. This is all different. You have Jericho. I don't remember everyone's name, but like you got so many different people, all from different backgrounds, that I'm like, okay, I can see why they come together. Sammy Guevara though is one that I'm like, you look like you're 12. I don't understand. But he's good in the ring. He's not on TV now because of some issues, some trouble he gotten into. But yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, the Inner Circle, of course, Jericho and Jake Yeager, they defeated Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. But at the end of the matchup, what you just said, man, I don't know if should I say it? Should I say it or should I wait? Should I say it? You want me to say it?
Say whatever you want.
All right, man. After the end of the matchup, man, we seen a mysterious person, helping the Inner Circle. It was supposed to be El Sapina, one of the guys that wrestle in a mask, but it was actually Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara
I knew he'd be back.
Yeah, Sammy Guevara made his return. He did his flip off the top rope, and Inner Circle is a click. They are back. So next week on AEW is going to be the Inner Circle taking on Luchasaurus, FTR, and I believe it's going to be taking on, I think, Best Friends, Luchasaurus. It's going to be a whole 10-man tag team match.
It's going to be a whole lot of people.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy. But on for that, man, NXT, man, this past Wednesday, last night, whatever you want to call it. wherever you at in the world, listen to this podcast though. But NXT, man, what was your thoughts on that, man? It made me really upset in the beginning.
So first of all, we have last night, which I watched this morning. Let's see, man. I actually really enjoyed it, yo. Like, trying to remember everything that happened, but what's his name? Karrion Kross, that dude. That dude is a monster.
Yeah, he really is a monster. Like that was the closing of NXT last night. We seen Karrion Kross take on Dominic Dijakovic. And what was a very interesting match, but my man Karrion Kross wasn't rocking like that. He took him out, and what was a gruesome match at the end though. It didn't seem like he wanted to stay down, or to say the least.
So we have, obviously we're gonna go through the whole show, but like the end of that match between Kross and Dijakovic was like, you had Keith Lee come down to the ring. And like, it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies, because there's the one with I think it's Rocky 4, where you have the Russian dude beating the snot out of Apollo, and Rocky wants to throw in the towel. You had that same scenario where Dijakovic is just getting beat down, and you can tell that Keith Lee's like, dude, I can call the match, we can end it here, and he's like, nope, don't do it. I was like, okay, that was such a cool story. And then you had Keith Lee relinquishing his North American title, which I'm okay with because it fits within his character. Because Adam Cole was such a jerk of a champion.
But real quick though, like it may fit in his character because maybe they don't want him to lose the North American Championship, but in my opinion though, I just think it was a waste of doing that. It was a cool build up, the triple threat match between Roderick Strong, Finn Balor, and whoever the third person, what was it? Who was the third person?
Gargano.
Yeah, Gargano. That triple threat match, whoever take on that goes on to take, man, that was cool. That was really cool. And to see Keith Lee win it and everything, the confetti and everything, that was a cool moment. And now he's just gonna relinquish the title just because he can have opportunity. So other guys can have other opportunities. I mean, you work hard for this opportunity, and I think the reason why they did that is that they just don't want to overwork my man Keith Lee, in this time right now, because he could be a badass champ.
My thing is this: I completely agree. I would have liked to have him carry the 2 titles for a longer period of time, and then go, you know what, I'm going to relinquish it now that, have some event happen and be like, yo, I'm going to relinquish this.
I mean, Keith Lee haven't lost, I don't think, in a while. So I don't think they knew, they wrote themselves in a corner when they had him winning the title, winning the North American Championship, and really backed themselves into a corner, knowing they were going into NXT TakeOver 30 next month in August, and they wanted to be on the line there too, but who was going to beat Keith Lee, and they didn't want to overwork him. That was just my opinion. I think they backed themselves up into a corner, and then the whole William Regal is going to be on to make a huge announcement, and then basically hand it off to Keith Lee to basically relinquish the title to give other opportunities for everybody else, and I get that. That's really cool. And Bronson Reed, who won his matchup in a triple threat match over Johnny Gargano and Roderick Strong, he's gonna go on to NXT TakeOver 30 to face who we're gonna find out. But hey, I was just on a podcast last week. Shout out to Off the Top Ropes podcast. We was talking about who would be the person to take the title away from Keith Lee, and I didn't actually say it, but it was on the tip of my tongue. I thought Bronson Reed would have been a contender to be a champion, a North American champion, but I didn't know.
Yeah. So one thing I like about this whole competition, is it gives the opportunity for those stars that are not being used as well in NXT, or we just don't know about as much, to be used, right? So instead of having this thing being like, here's the top stars of NXT, let's bring in some of the talent who are ready for that push. So I was happy to see Bronson take that win because I was like, okay, what I don't want to see is, when it comes to the actual face-off for the title, have it be, this big superstar versus this big superstar versus, you know what I mean? Like, I want it to be a bunch of people who, like, I've heard their name, but I don't know them as well. So that way we have new meat coming in to NXT, and you could build a fanship for those people, and that way when, let's say, the Adam Coles, the Garganos, the Finn Balor's are ready to retire out, which they're not anywhere close. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you have people coming up who we are familiar with and who we know. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's because that's what happens with Raw and SmackDown is they focus so much on the same superstars that we just get when someone new comes in, we immediately don't like them because they're not part of this elite group of superstars.
Yep.
NXT is good at going, okay, we're going to slowly introduce this guy, someone like Swerve, right? Isaiah Swerve. Like, he's slowly been being introduced to where now he comes in. If he came in and won one of those spots, which I think he might be in, like, I could go, okay, I could support him because I've seen him and I like his work. Don't just throw him to the wolves. So.
Exactly, man. I'm interested. I like Swerve Scott, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool dude. I love his work. I really do. Timothy Thatcher went one-on-one with Oni Lorcan. I wish they would have hold out on this match just a little bit longer, though, because the first match was cool, in my opinion. And I'm really digging Timothy Thatcher. He was over in MLW. Of course, before that, shut down because of the pandemic, though. But Timothy Thatcher fit right well in with the old NXT brand, and going up against Oni Lorcan, like, they styles just clash. It's a magic for him, though. They had a dope matchup last night. Timothy Thatcher won over Oni Lorcan. What's your thoughts on Timothy Thatcher and Oni Lorcan?
So I don't see a whole lot of Thatcher, but what I have seen, I really like. Again, it's both of them have that hard hitting style. I keep saying it, the no nonsense style, where it's like you could hear them really clocking each other, and I'm like, okay, go for it. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a good matchup. It was cool kind of to see what happened or whatever. So we'll see what happens. Oni Lorcan, wow, I can't even say his name. But Oni Lorcan, like, he's one of those dudes that, he was in a tag team that I really liked.
With Danny Burch.
I'm trying to remember who it was who was tag teaming with
Danny Burch.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. Again, I'm more of a fan of the singles competition. But I did enjoy the match. But that was one of those that I wasn't 100% invested in, just because I'm still learning those two particular competitors. So. Okay,
I feel you say you're a big fan on singles competition. As we about to wrap it up here on NXT, what was your thoughts on Dexter Lumis versus Killian Dane?
Okay, Killian Dane is another one of those dudes that I want to see more from. You see what I'm saying? Like, we saw a lot from him with Sanity. I think, was he with Sanity?
He was with Sanity.
And we saw a lot of him there, but we haven't seen much of him as a single. So I actually enjoyed that match. Dexter Lumis he's kind of spaced out. He's weird. Definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But so I'm trying to remember who won that match.
Dexter Lumis. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah. So, but all in all, it was a good match. Even though Dexter won, I still feel like they showed enough of both men that you can sit there and go, okay, they both put their heart into that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't one-sided.
Yeah. All right, man. We hitting up to NXT TakeOver 30. Coming up with a unique name. Most likely it's going to be headlined by Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. They go one-on-one. Who you got?
Let's see. If it was Keith Lee versus Kross, oh man. I'm gonna really. I might have to give it to Cross if I really had to think about it, just because they have him on this really good streak, and I kind of want to see that go for a bit. But at the same time, so here's what I would really like to have happen now that I'm thinking through it. Like, I want Keith Lee to keep the title, but not because he won, but because of something like a count out, or so that they can keep the story going.
Yeah.
So that Cross isn't beaten, but the Keith Lee doesn't lose his title because he just got that title.
Yeah.
And again, I like to see dudes who I feel earned it. I want to see them run with the title, or not just have it for a month and walk out. I want to see them really carry it for a little bit. So, and I think Keith Lee has earned that, and he can do that. So, I want to see kind of a count out or something to where they can keep this story going for a little bit.
Okay, interesting, man. I mean, before we wrap it up, man, you said, man, your favorite man is the Undertaker, man. What's your favorite Undertaker match or favorite Undertaker moment?
So it's hard to boil it down because you got 30 years of Undertaker. You know what I mean?
And real
I
quick,
just remember.
And real quick though, before you get on that, do you think the Undertaker is retired?
I could understand one more match, but if he decides, I know he announced his retirement, but if that is the end, that was a killer match to end on. Yeah, I mean the Boneyard match.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Cool.
Because I understand, this character of the Undertaker, he's gonna want to end his career looking strong, right? Not collapsing ringside. Like, nobody wants that. But if he had one more match, though, I'm trying to think of who would be primed to take on Taker and make it look good. But, I'm okay with him being retired simply because I'm like, dude, you've put a lot of work into this company. I think it's okay for you to ride off into the sunset. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah. You're right about that.
But as far as my favorite Taker moment, see, that's so hard to say. I enjoyed Taker versus CM Punk. I thought that was a fun match. Even though there's a huge size difference there. Let's see. I don't know, dude. That's hard to say. I just remember being a kid and, Taker's segments would always be, the later on in Raw, and I would have to go to bed. But my brother would be watching, so I could still hear it, and I would literally just sit there and be like, yo, I wish I was watching Undertaker right now. Like, because he's always been one of those dudes that I've been captivated by. So I can't pick a favorite moment, but I could definitely, I could rewatch his matches a lot. Like, I've rewatched a couple of them, but.
Okay. Big fan, man.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate Anthony, man. You joining me here on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, man. Anything else you want to, say before we wrap it up here, man?
Nah, man, I appreciate having me on. I had a blast. This was awesome. And I'm excited to to keep up and, see if we can do some, more wrestling talk, either on your show or on my show.
Most definitely, Anthony, man. I'm glad you came through. Stop past here on the 1130 podcast, man. I appreciate it so much, man. Down the line, man, I can stop on your podcast, or you can come right back here, man, to the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, man. Most definitely, man. So once again, you guys, man, shout out to my man Anthony. Shout out to Beautiful Feet podcast, and also, man, check out his book, man, Sanctuary of My Solitude. It's available on Amazon. It's available on iUniverse.com, or go to Beautiful Feet beautifulfeetentertainment.com. That's beautifulfeetentertainment.com, man. Once again, shout out to my man Anthony Giesick for stopping past here all the way from Chandler, Arizona. He said it's triple digits out there, man. I know it's hot. It's damn near triple digits here in DC. But once again, you guys, man, appreciate you guys joining me here this week on the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Don't forget, man, if you listen to this on YouTube or wherever you listen to it at, wherever you get your podcasts, don't forget to subscribe, follow me, leave a review, leave a 5-star rating, man. I appreciate it so much, man. This is your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels, and 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. I'll see you guys next week.